Grandpa, can you tell me the story about the doggy again?
Yes. My reaction to my times flying Spitfires in World War II. Good times, good times.
Dad, are we really gonna tell this story again? You know you get worked up when reflecting on the war.
No, I'm reacting to it.
No, you're reflecting on it. Because a reflection describes what happened in a certain time period from the perspective of someone in the time period. If you were reacting to the story, you'd be criticizing it in hindsight. Because Grandpa was in the story and telling the story, it's a reflection, sort of like looking in a mirror.
Mom, just shut up and let Grandpa tell his story.
The Spitfire was flying quite nicely that day.
Dad, why do you always start in medias res? You create a sense of confusion for the listener.
I used that device to emphasize the state of distress I was in.
It's like when you lost your leg. I think losing your leg is like a symbol. It represents how you lost your freedom.
Yeah. So, anyways, there I was flying the Spitfire and boom, there goes my leg. I black out and I wake up in the hospital.
Now, a Spitfire was the type of plane they used in World War II. It was the most commonly used single-seat fighter in the Royal Air Force, and Grandpa uses this specific plane in his story to emphasize how it historically connected to that time period.
The story. I knew something was wrong when I was able to identify the German Junker 88s. By its sound alone, it sounded a little something like but the Spitfires I know sound more like brrrr. I also connected it specifically to the war because any trained pilot would be able to identify the sound of a German enemy aircraft.
Did they sound like this?
No.
But that's so cool, Grandpa. Did you go to pilot school?
Of course I did. I trained in the British Commonwealth Air Training Program in Canada. That's where I learned to fly calmly, even while having my leg blown off. Alright.
And that's where you met your best friend, Roald Dahl.
Yes, Roald Dahl used his experience in the RAF to write my story. He used many literary devices to convey the figurative meaning of the plot, just like me when I start my story in medias res.
In medias res. But an extremely important literary device that he used was the device of foreshadowing.
Yeah, through the nurse's nervous movements and the sounds of the planes, Grandpa knew something wasn't right.
He also realized that different places have different water softness levels. This added to the sense of unease and hinted at the plot twist later to come.
Roald Dahl also used the device of the green curtains to emphasize the motif of false hope. Green is the color often associated with hope, and having the curtain be the last thing between me and the truth created a sense of false hope.
Yeah, the curtains are also used as the device of a boundary situation. They separated Grandpa from the outside world, but they also separated him from the truth. This sets up just further foreshadowing.
All this talk is working me up. Anyone have a pack of cigarettes?
Grandpa, no!
Honey, Grandpa was born in a different time period. He didn't know that cigarettes were bad.
I specifically want a packet of Players. That sounds nice right about now.
That's a specific connection to the story. Roald knew they were your favorite. Hey, look, a fly!
No! Garden Chin!
Gardez chien. But Dad, that means beware of the dog.
Garden, what?
Sorry, I saw that fly and it reminded me that the fly on the ceiling. That was the last thing I saw before I looked out my window and realized I was in France.
Beware of the dog also had the figurative meaning that Peter, your grandfather, needed to beware of the Germans. The Nazis that they were fighting at this time were often referred to as dogs by the Allies. So the sign, beware of the dog, being in French, means that he needed to beware of everything around him.
Sweetie, I'm going to tell you some advice my good friend Johnny told me. If you're ever captured by the enemy, only give your name, your rank, and your number.
I'm Fiona. I'm in kindergarten, and I don't even have a phone number.
No, sweetie. That's not what Grandpa means. Sometimes he gets a little too caught up when reflecting on the war. Anyways, it's getting a little late, so maybe you can reflect on Grandpa's story in your dreams.
Okay, good night, Mom. Good night, Grandpa.
Good night, Fiona.